Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to Style and Stitch. Today I am at the Sewing Cafe in Hinckley to have a chat to some of the people here. So today I'm at the Sewing Cafe in Hinckley and I am here with Becky to talk about all of the amazing things that goes on at this wonderful place that she and Faye run together. So firstly, could you tell us about the Sewing Cafe?
So we are a fabric shop, but we run workshops, and we kind of like to call ourselves like a social sewing shop.
Oh yeah.
So it's as much about the chatting and the sewing and sharing projects and ideas. But we originally called the Sewing Cafe because we started out a bit like an internet cafe, so where you could come and hire the sewing machines by the hour, finish off projects or use different feet or different machines. So that's where kind of the original idea came from, and then obviously the fabric followed. And then all
lots
the
and
workshops,
lots of fabric followed.
Yeah. And then more.
And more fabric. Yeah.
And then kind of the whole idea developed around that, really.
Okay, and how long have you been operating them?
So we've just celebrated our 7th birthday.
Lovely.
We originally opened as kind of one half of the shop, and then after a couple of years the shop next door came available, and as like with every fabric hoarder, there's never enough room for the fabric, so we're going to have to move next door. So that's given us now 2 workshop spaces.
Yeah.
So it means on weekends and things we can run a couple of workshops at a time.
So how do you decide what workshops to run? How does that come about?
It varies.
Okay.
It can sometimes come from personal projects, things that we've kind of done and thought, oh, actually, other people might like to do that. So one of our most popular workshops is the oilcloth wash bag.
Yeah.
And
yes, I'm a fan of that one.
Yeah. Everybody's a fan of the wash bag. And that came about through making a present for someone.
Yeah.
And then kind of developing the idea. But others come from things that are coming through as trends. So like obviously sewing jersey and stretch is really popular, so that's where like we do a Coco dress workshop and the Minetta dress workshop.
This is what I made here, because I came in going, I've never worked with stripes, so I thought I'd really challenge myself on both an overlocker and with stripes.
Which is the best way to do it,
Yeah.
because you're in an environment where someone's watching over your shoulder and can give you pointers and say, oh, hang on a second, just do this or do that, rather than sitting there in a panic of stripes.
Yeah, the amount of times I've spent just sort of staring, going, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, when somebody goes, oh, you're doing this next. Yeah, that definitely helps.
Definitely. So, and then other workshops come from other kind of customer ideas and everywhere, really.
So when you get fabrics in, do you tend to sort of have a bit of a play with them, and is that how the oilcloth wash bag sort of came about?
A little bit, but to be honest, it was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
But
because I spotted a few new projects that you've obviously, so like different bag styles and things like that. So do you just tend to have a play?
And also obviously the oilcloth wash bag has become very popular, so then people want to go on and do other things. So they're kind of developing on other ideas from that, and kind of different ways of using different fabrics, but also allowing people to trial different techniques, and everyone has a different way of handling different fabrics, so it's letting people see kind of lots of different options. Yeah,
that makes sense.
And that's one of the reasons we have lots of different people teach here rather than just us, because it means that we all pin in a slightly different way, or we all have different methods of cutting out or handling different fabrics, so it means that people that can come can see lots of different ways and then work out what's best for them.
Yeah, because then you kind of look at one person and go, oh, that's not necessarily my style. Look at another person and realise that's the way I like to do it.
I find it easier to do it this
yeah.
way. And
especially it's like, even with like left-handed, right-handed, actually flipping it for being the right way around for you, all those sorts of things. Yeah, that makes sense. So at the moment, what's your favourite thing that you're sewing or working with?
Oh, I've got a quilt on the go.
Oh yeah.
I'm desperately waiting for some fabric to come in so I can finish it. So I'm really keen to get that finished.
It's lovely to see that your love of fabric hasn't gone, even though you're surrounded by fabric all the time.
It's always the project, always going.
Yeah.
And I have just cut out the sew over it penny dress, so I'm keen to get on with that one.
Yeah.
And then we've had in for a little while some faux leather, but I've only recently had a chance to have a real good play with that, so I'm really enjoying that. So I made a Noodlehead range backpack a couple of weeks ago with faux leather on, so that was really good as well. Yeah,
that was one of my treats that I got myself at the Handmade Fair from you guys. So that'll probably be playing with myself soon. Yeah,
it's really nice to play with, and it's so soft on the inside as well.
Yeah,
so it's a good one.
Oh, good. No, that'll be fun. Lovely. So how did you start sewing? When did you first get into it? Was it?
I've always sewn.
Yeah.
And both Faye and I have very kind of creative mums and mums that sew. So Faye's mum actually teaches our patchwork and quilting here as well. So we've always been surrounded by sewing, and we both come from kind of quite creative backgrounds. And then we went off, and we met at university originally, went off, did our degrees, both got jobs in retail marketing sector, had busy lives, and then both picked up sewing again as a kind of hobby, and then we kind of were enjoying it, struggling to find time to do it in a social situation, because we wanted to see each other and sew. And that was one of the reasons that the shop also came about, because we wanted that kind of social, inspiring place to go, and we couldn't find it. So
I think that's what I found really amazing, is the community in sewing is really big. Have you seen it change? Obviously, you've been here for 7 years, so have there been different sort of trends that go in the community? Or
there have been different trends. Fundamentally, it's all the kind of community base has stayed the same.
Yeah.
Everyone's passionate about it. Everyone loves to show you what they've made. They love to share. They come in and share their problems, or like their kind of latest trick that they found.
Yeah.
So kind of at the heart of it, it's the same.
Yeah.
But you have seen, obviously, since the sewing bee, there's been more of a focus on dressmaking, and then obviously kind of with jersey and things coming through as well. People getting more confident with trying different fabrics. But yeah, as a general, it's just people loving sewing.
Yeah.
And all those beginners being a bit nervous. Yeah. And then coming in, but then it's really lovely to see them leave a couple of hours later completely proud of what they've done as well. So
and also progressing. I mean, because when I came, I obviously had just made, I think I did pyjamas and went, well, I've made an outfit, and then I got thrown in of kind of, okay, so can you cut out all the fabric? And I thought, what am I doing? But actually, like, bit by bit, I would come in and I would talk to you about the projects I was doing, and you'd be able to give me advice and help, and on it would go.
Yeah, and I love it, because when people come in and ask questions, it means that they're doing it, they're going home and trying it, and things like that. So I always say to people, I'd much rather you come in and pick our brains, because we know that you're sewing at home and having a go, so that's always good.
So do you find that there's things that you're still learning then and picking up from other people in the community?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Really?
I don't think you ever stop learning, do you, with sewing? There's always something that you think, oh, hang on a minute, why haven't I done it like that? Or why haven't I tried that? So you never stop learning. And I think that is the great thing. People are happy to share. Yeah. And kind of happy to give things a go.
Yes.
So, and like I said, it's trying out lots of different methods and working out what fits best for you as well.
So do you have any tips that you have picked up or anybody's told you about that you want to share?
I think probably the top tip would be, if you get stuck, ask someone. There's so many different ways you can ask people, whether it's like on Instagram or Facebook groups or popping into here or at your local sewing shop. So I'd say definitely ask. and also never underestimate the power of ironing things,
Yes.
pressing things, because so many people skip that, think, oh, I don't need to press it.
Yeah.
But once you realise the importance of a good iron, even if it's for only ironing for sewing, then
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be my next investment, because I have a really bad iron. So yes, totally iron things to get rid of a lot of sins, but actually get a good iron.
Yeah.
And it helps.
Definitely.
Yeah. Is there anything any advice that you give yourself when you went back to starting sewing again? So when you got back into that, starting to sew with Faye, what advice would you give yourself for then that you might sort of not know now?
I think probably just to take your time.
Yeah.
And the bit that the piece of advice I always give people is not to be scared of the unpicker. Like, as soon as you become best friends with the unpicker, then actually your life becomes so much easier, because it's fabric and thread. And I know sometimes if you're doing something really big, or you've cut out like a circle skirt or something like that, then there is a lot involved. But generally, mistakes can be rectified. Yeah. And even if it doesn't turn out exactly as you'd hoped, very few other people know how it's meant to turn out. So if it's got an extra buttonhole, or it's got a pleat here and a pleat there, then actually,
totally meant to be like that. That's exactly how I designed it.
And the thing is, it's meant to be enjoyable. So it's kind of relaxing, taking your time and enjoying it. I think is probably the most important thing.
I always find that I never leave enough time for the prep, so I always forget how long it takes to cut and prep and all of that. And then the actual sewing bit,
you don't really spend that much time on the sewing machine, do you?
No, it's everything else. It's the pinning and cutting and like there's a whole art to all of that. Yeah. And I always forget that bit. Yeah. And then I realise that takes quite some time.
And it's one of those things that once you get it right, then it does become much quicker.
Yes, it's true.
As soon as you learn to pin in a way that suits you, then that speeds up that process.
Yeah, that's it. And making sure you mark your darts, mark everything on the pattern well. And
but I think as long as you, along the way, you learn from any mishaps that you have, then that's another really important thing to do, because you'll know next time, I'll do that differently.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. So one of the things that you do here is sewing machines. Yeah. It's obviously not the most exciting because it's not all the fabric and glossy stuff, but I've just got my sewing machine here. What would you say in terms of making sure you keep your sewing machine up to sort of not up to date, but making sure that the sewing machine works properly. How would you make sure that you keep your sewing machine working properly? Like, what do you need to do to maintain it?
Make sure you're changing your needles on a regular basis. Also, make sure that you're using a good quality thread. I know there's those great packets in the supermarket, but sometimes I'll have people come and say, my sewing machine's not working properly, and sometimes it can be down to the thread. So just make sure, obviously, if you're whizzing something up or it's a practice, then don't worry, but when you're doing kind of nice projects, make sure you've got good quality thread. Also, make sure that you clean your machine out. The amount of times people say, I haven't cleaned my machine out before. How do I do that?
I haven't cleaned my machine out yet. And I got it probably about 2 years.
And again, it's something not to be scared of, because people think, I'm going to take bits out and then I won't be able to get them back in. But it's not as scary as it seems. But because it's amazing if you ever say, like, cuddle fleece or something with a bit of kind of fluff to it, and even quilting as well, how quickly the lint and stuff can build up.
I notice it a lot in the overlocker, because obviously you open the overlocker up a lot more, but you never really open a sewing machine up. No. But actually, I wonder how much stuff is just in there. Okay.
And often in your books, in your instruction book, it will show you how to clean your machine out. But good needles. And the right needle for the right project as well.
Right, noted. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the Sewing Cafe, or about just the sewing community in general and how you found it?
I think the sewing community in general is obviously a very generous community, which is always really nice. I think, as I said before, always happy to share.
I guess, what piece of advice then would you give somebody if they've come in, they're just looking to get started with sewing? What would you recommend?
I would recommend starting small. if you want to go down dressmaking route, then maybe start with like a little pair of like PJ shorts or something.
Yeah.
Or like a smaller project. But it's always best to maybe start with like a cushion or just a bag, just to build your confidence up.
Yeah.
Because I often say this, but it's a lot like learning to drive. Like, you become more confident the more you do it.
Yeah.
So even if you sit and say 5 cushions, but as long as you've got it nailed by the 5th one,
Yes.
then move on to something else. But just make sure you build your confidence up
Yeah.
as you go, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think there's nothing worse than probably getting a project that's too complex and
Yeah.
feeling like, well, this is stressful and I don't want to ever do this again.
Yeah.
Rather than going, actually, just build yourself up.
And lots of people say to us, why can't I book like your courses online? And we say, because we want to talk to you beforehand.
Yes.
We'd much rather you come to a course that is as appropriate to your skill level, rather than jump in 2 feet first and then not find it enjoyable because you feel like you're kind of overwhelmed.
But I think on the other side of it, like, I'm probably somebody who's not confident even when I probably had the ability.
Yeah.
So there's that little bit of push yourself a little bit further than you think you can go, because you probably can.
You can do it,
but
don't
actually
kind of jump,
too far. But then also that's have that conversation with you, because I did have the conversation with you and say, I've just done this one thing. He said that'll be fine. So actually, speaking to you meant, okay, I've had the seal of approval.
But also some people might have sewn for a really long time but not have the confidence.
Yes, that's true.
So it's knowing, if people are quite happy just to come in and sit down at a machine that they don't necessarily always use.
Yeah.
That can be quite different to someone that's got loads of experience but maybe not so confident.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how can we find out more about the Sewing Cafe?
So obviously you can visit our website, which is thesewingcafe.co.uk. We're also on Facebook under The Sewing Cafe and Instagram at The Sewing Cafe UK.
Lovely. And do you see, there's a lot of fabrics now available online. Do you do samples then of fabrics that you'll send out so people can have a feel of what they're like?
We don't offer a sample service online, but you can always email us or give us a call, and whether we can describe it or we can send you a little piece.
Yeah, that helps. Great. So thank you so much for having this chat. I'm sure I shall be back soon looking at more of your stuff and building up my stash in a very naughty but totally nice way. Thank you. It's been a real pleasure. So that's it for my trip to the Sewing Cafe. Make sure that you check it out because it is absolutely brilliant, I have to say. I love it. Absolutely love this place. And Becky and Faye are really, really helpful, always on hand to give advice and tips. I will be back soon with some more videos, so make sure you subscribe to my channel, and if there's any comments, just pop those below. See you soon.